Hey friends, here we are in the second week of our online devotionals. And I have continued on in the Gospel of John, and I'm going to jump over the Easter story because I feel like we might need that in the next couple of weeks. But right at the end of that story in John chapter 20, there's this little piece that I'd like to focus on today. John chapter 20, verses 11 through 17. Now Mary stood outside the tomb crying, and as she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb. She saw two angels in white seated where Jesus' body had been, one at the head and the other at the foot. They asked her, "Woman, why are you crying?" "They've taken my Lord away," she said, "and I don't know where they've put him." At this she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she did not recognize that it was Jesus. He asked her, "Woman, why are you crying? Who is it you are looking for?" And thinking that he was the gardener, she said, "Sir, if you have taken him and carried him away, tell me where you have put him, and I will get him." And Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned toward him and cried out in Aramaic, "Rabboni," which means teacher. As I looked at this passage this week and thought about it, I was struck by this idea that we sometimes miss where Jesus is in our lives. We think he's the gardener. We think an ordinary conversation is just an ordinary conversation, and there in the midst of our usual days, we find that we have been met by God. And I think particularly now, it's very easy to miss it. I know my days, and I don't know about you, but they're full of computers and online meetings and things to get to and adjustments to make and calls and emails and texts, and I can pretty easily miss even thinking about God during the day. And so I wondered if we might practice something together this week. And it's a little spiritual practice that might help you. And just at the end of the day to say, what brought me life today? Where did I feel most alive? And the reverse of that is the second question. Where did I feel the life draining out of me? Where have I felt most stuck, most exhausted, the most frustrated? And just to bring those moments of our day into the light. And then finally to ask, are there ways where God was drawing us close and caring for us right in the middle of our ordinary days? Jesus says Mary's name, and she recognizes him. And I think Jesus is saying our names all day long. And maybe it's in the world, maybe it's in a call, maybe it's in quiet, maybe it's in the world around us. And this week, I am praying that we would hear that voice, that we would hear him call our names, and that we would recognize him. So take care, friends. Until next week. See you later. Bye.